What is going on, guys? It's Bengt. Welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to be talking about how to remain authentic in a world of influence and influencers, and how we are constantly being consciously and subconsciously programmed by the people that we watch, by the content that we consume, and how you might not actually be living your truest, most authentic life if you are not emotionally, spiritually, and kind of psychologically aware of some of the things that are at play that are causing you to make decisions or try to be a certain thing that maybe is not the most authentic version of you, maybe resonates with you on one level but is not who you truly are on like the inside. So I saw this really great video. It was on my Instagram feed, and basically it was a guy who just like made this really bold statement, like long-haired girls are prettier than short-haired girls, and then the rest of the video is just basically explaining how, like, in that first 2 seconds there was the emotional hook where you're either thinking yes I agree with this or yes I don't agree with this, and then you're waiting for the response to basically be told why your answer is either right or wrong. And this was a really awesome video. If I can find it again, I think I might have saved it. I will have it play right now. If not, basically the idea of the video was just to show you how easily programmed we are by these short form content pieces by influencers and stuff like that. And ultimately, you know, I think that the world that we live in right now is arguably the best and the worst at the same time, because the fact that we have access to all of this content and all of these other people that we can see how they live their lives and model what we like, and, you know, look past what we don't and try to just take different pieces from all these other people that are where we want to be with our lives and model that and implement those things that they're teaching you. I think it's really great. And obviously in a world right now where information is abundant, not necessarily good information, but just information in general, almost to the point where it's like information overload, but still having the ability to choose between an abundance of information versus having throttled, restricted, censored information, in my opinion, is a far better alternative. So where I kind of want to go with this video is how to remain authentic to yourself, still find and truthfully hold true to yourself and what you think you want to be and who you actually are at your core, and not be swept away and try to just be living the life of this like influencer that you follow, or this, you know, popular successful person. Because you're here watching this video, you're probably on self-improvement, you're probably in this corner of YouTube and you watch the Eman Gajis, the Hamzas, Alex Hormozy, you know, Richard Cooper maybe, and all these other guys, right? Like, we all watch the same content, we're all on the same type of wavelength. I can talk to you guys and assume that you know most of this stuff, right? So with that being said, like, you know, particularly now that we've mentioned all these other people, some sort of like one piece of this that I recognized recently was in one of Hamza's most recent videos, he's talking about why he didn't become a pro fighter and how it like just basically did not resonate with him, and he thought that it was something he wanted to do, but then realized that he was just doing it to like look cool on social media and, you know, basically like play the part of like the high value, you know, role model guy. Like, basically, like, for what it's worth, I love Andrew Tate, but he's created this fucking monster of like all these little kids that like want to be just like him and shit. And honestly, grown fucking men too. Like, you know, we've kind of deemed him as like the pinnacle or like the ideal masculine role model, right? So everyone kind of, you know, now wants to fight MMA and smoke cigars and shit, which is cool, but at the same time, it's like, is that genuine and is that authentic to you? And that's a choice that you need to make for yourself. And it's very easy to kind of get swept away in the tide. And there's a saying that goes, you know, you are exactly like the 5 people you spend the most time around, or you'll become the sum or the average of those 5 people. And I'd argue that in today's age, since most people spend most of their time on their phones and not around actual fucking people anyways, I would say that you're more like the 5 influencers that you watch the most on Instagram and YouTube. Like, just the ideas, the morals, the beliefs, the values, the things that you're trying to do or want to do in your life, the way that you talk and present, carry yourself, etc. You're trying to model those people, right? Like, chances are, if you're watching this video, again, we know that we're in the self-improvement corner of YouTube. Like, you've probably got goals, you've probably got ambition, you probably want to be like some of the people that I've previously mentioned. And so you, to a degree, emulate them and might be copying them or trying to take their advice very literally and like implement that stuff into your life. And that's great. And I think that there is a lot to learn from watching self-improvement videos. And honestly, I wouldn't be making them myself if I didn't think that there was a benefit to it. Now, I'm not trying to, be out here and influence millions and millions of people. If I get to that point, that's great. I don't know if that's necessarily my goal. I mean, I'd really like to just be able to document kind of my life and my story, my come up, and hopefully impact younger men in the future and kind of be that older brother figure that I didn't have growing up, and just share my game and my experience with life in this world as a man, right? So that's my kind of intention. But through realizing that, I've realized how much I've been influenced by the other people that I watch as well, and just how much we take to heart some of the things that we see in these 5-minute, 6-minute, 30-second even videos. So I challenge you to really just like take everything that you see on the internet with a grain of salt, and don't just try to be like Andrew Tate because he's cool and popular right now. Like, there are so many versions of you that exist that when you try to be just like somebody else or do the things that they do because you want to get the feeling of being like them, but you're not actually on the inside, you know what I mean? Like, that's not the truest version of you, and you're honestly kind of just crippling yourself and your self-improvement and your development in that way, because, I think that to a degree, like, actually, you know what, let me say this. In my experience growing up and kind of learning and finding myself, I will say that there was definitely a period of time where I sought to kind of emulate other people, to try what life in their shoes, whatever, I guess, figuratively, for the sake of expression, that's what we can say it was. But kind of just like trying on other lifestyles and trying to figure out where my most authentic self was, or what I liked and what I didn't like. And a lot of that came from like just kind of emulating people around me and finding myself in different social circles, different crowds, doing different things. And I think that's one of the biggest, it's a process that I had to go through. I think some people definitely find themselves in a similar cycle of life, and other people maybe are able to more genuinely find their own path and purpose and are kind of just always, unique and in their own lane, and don't necessarily need to go through a discovery process to find theirs. They always are just kind of on it no matter what. However, I will say that at the time, that process was mostly as a result of me and the people around me. But now kids in this day and age can do that, but with people on the internet. So now you've got like a million other lifestyles, or 10 or 15 other guys that are like the pinnacle of success in your imagination, or in your idea, I guess, in your reality, because we painted this picture of them and they actually are successful. So it's like, there's credibility to what they're saying. And so you seek to copy them and kind of just implement everything that they say into your life, and you take it with 100% like seriousness, or you just everything that they say and do, you want to copy and emulate that because you're like, I have to be just like them. You know what I mean? Eventually you get to a place where like you're not even having your own thoughts anymore, or you're thinking like, what would this person do? And that's fine to a degree, but just don't lose yourself in that process. Now, I want to kind of touch on one more thing, and we're going to go down the rabbit hole a bit for this, so bear with me. The reason why the Andrew Tates and the Hamzas and those people of the world are seen as such a threat, right? Like, the reason why Andrew Tate has gone through what he's gone through right now is because the government, the powers that be, whatever you want to call them, it, they, whatever, like, they don't have your best intention in mind. And the reason why influencers are called influencers is because they have influence over people. They can sway markets. They can inspire massive amounts of people to take action on certain things, whether that be for the benefit or the detriment of society as a whole. That's up to the influencer to decide, right? But the thing is, once you get to a certain level of influence where like you're the most Googled man on the planet, right, the fact that you have free reign and control over so many people's minds is a threat. And I want you to think about that from both sides of the fence, right? Not only how that's a good thing, but how that's a bad thing as well. And at one point or another, you have to realize that you've been told what to think in a positive way and in a negative way. Like, the powers that be that don't want the best for you have told you and brainwashed you through the schooling system and through, mainstream media and propaganda and all this other shit. Like, you've been told what to do in a negative way, but also you've got influencers and people like this that, maybe they've impacted you in a positive way, but they're still kind of using similar ideologies and principles to, like, maybe they're more transparent, maybe they're not, but ultimately, like, even if it's for good, have original thoughts. Know when other people are thinking for you. Know when the things that you've adopted and are trying to be like are actually what you're thinking you want versus what other people have told you to think and want. So I'm going to leave you guys with that, just a little bit of food for thought. And if you made it to the end of the video, you're a real one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We got more content coming soon. In the meantime, stay strong, stay blessed, stay dangerous. I love you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. All right? Peace.